Hello, we are going to skip lesson 16 and go straight to lesson 17 from nets to surface area. So first I want you to look at the opening exercise. I would like you right now to try letters A and B on your own. You're finding the areas of the triangle and the rectangle. You should be able to do those. So try those now, and then I'm going to go over it. Okay, so the triangle we always have, so we know it just says to write a numerical equation. So I can say, well, my area is always 1/2 for a triangle times my base, which my base here is 5 plus 9, which is 14 centimeters. So my base is 14 centimeters. My height is 12 centimeters. I know 1/2 times 12 is 6. 6 times 14 is 84. And we have centimeters squared for area. And because we have 2 centimeters. So centimeters squared. So how would you write an equation that shows the area of a triangle with the base B and the height H? Let's just say my area is 1/2, my base is B, my height is H. That's just the equation we've always had. So that's just something to keep in mind as we do this lesson. Write a numerical equation for the area of the figure below. Explain and identify different parts of the figure. Well, so we have our area as our base times our height. So we just take our base is 28 feet here. Our height is 18 feet. And you should have gotten 504 feet squared for our area for this rectangle. How would you write an equation that shows the area of the rectangle with a base B and a height H? Well, for a rectangle, we just take the base times the height. Remember, a triangle is 1/2 base times the height. Rectangle is just base times the height. Or you could have the area as the length times the width for a rectangle, but notice they specifically told us to have B and H, so you should have this one, but you could also use length times width in general. Okay, so this is not in your book. I just want you to follow along. I have a couple things to just point out. So what I want you to notice is this rectangular prism. Each new rectangular prism here shows a different side shaded. So here's the rectangular prism. This shows the back is shaded with this gray, so the back face is right here on our net. This one shows the side face is dotted. Here's the side face on our net. The other side face is striped, so that's this net. Then we also have the bottom is shown here. Our front face is here, and then the top is like the brick, and it's the last one. So this just shows you the net of the rectangular prism with each face shaded a different color so you can tell which face it is. So what these are is these are labeled. Each side is labeled so that we can find the areas of each shape. So notice this rectangular prism is the same as this rectangular prism. It's just folded out so that we can see all the faces. So if we're trying to find the surface area of a prism or a 3D object, the surface area would be like if we had a cardboard box and we just want to know how much cardboard there was. We didn't care about how much we would fill in it. That's the area or the volume, remember? So if we wanted to know how much cardboard there was, that would be the surface area. We want to know how much area the surface has. So we know the surface area of this rectangular prism will be the same as the surface area of its net. So to find the surface area, we can break it up into its net. So, and then we can find the area of each individual face, and then we'll add them together. So if you look, the area of the back is 4 times 2, which is 8 centimeters squared. Here's the area of the back. We have the length times the width, 4 times 2. So you could find the surface area using a prism if you can't quite figure out what the surface area is just looking at the figure. So we're going to try a couple of these in our workbook. Okay, so we are on page 96. What I first want you to notice is I have the vocab word surface area here. The surface area is the area of each face added together. So write that down somewhere in your workbook. I just put it at the top of the page. And we are going to now find the surface area of these figures. So use the net to calculate the surface area of the figure. Note all measurements are in centimeters. So what that tells me is each box represents 1 square centimeter. So if I wanted to count how long this line was, it would be 2 centimeters. So I can label this side 2. This is 1. This is 1. So this is 1. This is 1. This is 2. 1, 1, 2. We're just counting how many boxes are on each line. So what I'm going to do is I know this rectangle is 2 boxes. So I know this is 2 centimeters squared for the area of that rectangle. And then notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles that are all exactly the same. So we could either use repeated addition, or I could take my 4 times my 2 centimeters squared. So you could have done 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. I'm just going to use multiplication to make it easier. And then we have to add, so I'll make these all purple. So we used all these purple ones already. Now we need to add these squares here, which are 1, 2, 3, 4 centimeters squared, because they have 4 boxes that are each 1 centimeter squared. And there's 2 of them. So I need to multiply that by 2 times 4 centimeters squared. Or you could have said 4 plus 4. It's the same thing. So 4 times 2 is 8 centimeters squared for those purple ones. 2 times 4 is also 8 centimeters squared for the green ones. And now I can add them together. 8 plus 8 is 16 centimeters squared for the surface area. Also notice this net would create a rectangular prism if it was all folded back together, because there are 6 faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this would have been a rectangular prism, just like that example I just went through. Okay, example 2. Use the net to write the expression for the surface area. Now we're in square feet. So this would show a a square pyramid. So I put a square pyramid here for you so you would see what it would look like. Notice it's a square pyramid because the base is a square. Here's our base is a square. And then the 4 faces are all triangles. So if we have triangular faces, that makes it a pyramid. So now we're going to have to do a little bit more math than before instead of just count. What I can do is I can say, well, this is 3. This is 3. So my square, the square base, the area is 3 times 3, or 3 feet times 3 feet. You could also just count those squares if you wanted to, and you should get 9 feet squared. You could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So either way is fine. You could multiply or you can count. The triangles, you have to be a little bit more careful, because remember the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So you can't just count 1, 2, 3, 4. That is not the area of this triangle. You have to say, well, my base is 3. So the triangles, notice all the triangles are exactly the same. So I can just find the area of 1 and then multiply. So my triangles are 1/2. My base here is 3 feet. My height is from the base all the way to that top vertice. So from the base, I count up 1, 2. So my height for this triangle is 2 feet. And notice they're all the same. My base is 3, my base is 3, my base is 3. My height is 2, my height is 2, my height is 2. So I'm just going to find this one triangle and then multiply by 4 for all those triangles. So I have 1/2 times 6 feet squared. So I have those triangles are all 3 feet squared. So now to find the total area, I take my square is 9 feet squared plus 4 times my 3 feet squared because I have 4 of those triangular bases. So I get 9 feet squared plus 12 feet squared, which is 21 feet squared for my surface area. What I would like you to do is try these exercises on your own. Try to find the area, the surface area of these nets. So for numbers 1 and 2, and then try 3 and 4 on page 98 as well. Try and find those surface areas and then come back and I will go over them. Okay, so we should have the square. So first, this is a square pyramid because it has a square base and then it has triangular sides or triangular faces. My surface area, notice I have this rectangle or square, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the length. 1, 2, 3, 4 is also my width. So I can write this as 4 centimeters times 4 centimeters. Then I need to add on the area of my triangular faces, which I know is 1/2 times my, I need to multiply first times how many faces I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 triangular faces, and I need to multiply that by 1/2 for triangles, and then I multiply it by the base, 1, 2, 3, 4, times my height, which is 1, 2, 3. Notice my height is right here, so I count up 1, 2, 3 to get my height. All the triangles are the same, so I multiplied them by 4 because there's 4 of them. So 4 times 4 is 16. Remember that was from my square. Now my triangle, I can do 4 times 1/2 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. Oh, I didn't put any of my units here, not good. So my base was 4 centimeters, my height was 3 centimeters. And I end up with centimeters squared. Notice I didn't put any units on the 4 and the 1/2 because the 4 just tells me I have 4 triangles, so it's just repeated addition. The 1/2 tells me I'm just dividing this by 2 because it's a triangle, not a rectangle. These have units because 4 is my base and 3 is my height. These are measurements, so they should have units. 4 and 1/2 are not my measurements. So now I have to do 16 plus 24, which is 40 centimeters squared. So this square pyramid has a surface area of 40 centimeters squared. Okay, this is a rectangular prism because they are all the faces are rectangles. There are 6 rectangular faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rectangular faces. That makes it a rectangular prism. So our surface area, if you'll notice, we have 2 shapes here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles. 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles that are all 2 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll do it. We have 4 rectangles. So I'm multiplying them by 4, and they are all 2 centimeters times 5 centimeters. I'm going to write it a different way. I don't want to use that x. 2 centimeters times 5 centimeters. So I don't have to multiply it by 1/2 here because these are rectangles, not triangles. And now I have 2 squares that are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 2 of them, so I multiply them by 2. And then they're 5 centimeters times 5 centimeters. Now I just multiply all this together. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. 2 times 5 is 10. 10 times 5 is 50. This should be a 4D. 40 plus 50 is 90. So your surface area for this rectangular prism is 90 centimeters squared. Number 3, notice we have a rectangular pyramid because our base is a rectangle this time. And it's a pyramid because it has triangular faces. So now my surface area, I'll do my rectangle first. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have one rectangle, so I can just say I have 3 centimeters times 4 centimeters. And I actually might not put units here because I need space. So you should put units. I don't think I'll have room. Because what I want you to notice is we do have 4 triangles here. But since this is a rectangle, not all the triangles are exactly the same. Notice this base is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 2 triangles are the same. They have the same base. They have the same height. 1, 2, 3, 4. These triangles have a base of 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these triangles have a base of 3. They're different. So I have to do 2 different triangles here. So these triangles will be in green. There's 2 of them. And then I have to multiply them by 1/2 because they're triangles. Their base is 1, 2, 3, 4. Their height is 4. And now these triangles have a base of 3. There's also 2 of them. 1/2 for the triangles. Their base is 3. Their height is also 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Oh, and I still ran out of room. There we are. So now I did my rectangular base. I did these 2 faces, and then I did these 2 faces. Now I can just multiply it all together. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 1/2 is 1. Times 4 is 4. Times 4 is 16. 2 times 1/2 is 1. Times 3 is 3. Times 4 is 12. And I add them all together. 12 plus 12 is 24. Plus 16 is 40. And then remember we have centimeters squared as our units. It's a surface area, so we have square units. Number 4 is a rectangular prism. We have 6 faces that are all rectangles, so that makes it a rectangular prism. So now for this rectangular prism, we have our first shape here. These 2 rectangles are exactly the same. So I can take 2 times my length, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. My height, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've used this rectangle and I've used this rectangle. Now I have rectangles here and here that are equivalent. So there's 2 of them. Their height is 1. Their width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I have 2 rectangles here and here. So there's 2 of them. Their height is 1. Their width is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So notice these rectangles are different from these rectangles. And now I have to do my multiplication. 2 times 6 is 12, times 5 is 30. No. Yes. No. I haven't done my multiplication yet. 6 times 5 is 30, times 2 is 60. That's what it is. 2 times 1 is 2, times 6 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2, times 5 is 10. 12 plus 10 is 22. 22 plus 60 is 82 centimeters squared. So your rectangular prism here has a surface area of 82 centimeters squared. Okay, what I would like you to do for your homework is page 99, numbers 1 and 2. So if you choose to do it on a sheet of paper, you can do that, or you can do it on the template that I put on Seesaw. But please don't squish all your work on this page. If you do it in your workbook, do it on a separate sheet of paper and upload that work so I can see what you do. So you're going to find the surface area for numbers 1 and 2. Please let me know if you need any help. Have a nice day, everybody.